Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, temperatures are dropping, and that means it's time to talk about your furnace.
Right. One of the most critical systems in your house, especially now.
So today we're digging into a whole stack of research. We want to give you the shortcut guide to essential maintenance, keeping things efficient, and maybe most importantly, safe.
Yeah, our goal here is really to get past just the basics. We want you to understand how to keep that heating system running smoothly. Maximize the life of what's a really significant investment in your home.
And keep it running safely.
And keep it running safely, exactly. It's all about being prepared, not panicking when it suddenly gets cold.
And one thing that jumped out immediately, especially thinking about our listeners up in northern Utah, Salt Lake, Ogden, Layton, all the way up to Logan, really, was this surprising detail about professional standards. Or maybe the lack thereof. It really changes how you need to approach things.
It does. And we'll definitely unpack that specific regulatory situation because it really dictates our whole approach today. It means you, the listener, have to be empowered to really vet your expert.
If the state isn't providing that full safeguard, you have to step in.
Precisely. You must.
Okay, so let's start there. Why is annual maintenance seen as this, golden rule? We know it keeps us warm, obviously, but what's the deeper reason, the financial angle, the safety angle?
Right.
Why every single year?
Well, think of your furnace like the heart of your home in winter. It's a complex piece of machinery.
Right, lots of moving parts.
Exactly. And you've got friction, dirt builds up, minor wear and tear is just constant. So routine maintenance, it genuinely extends the system's lifespan by years, potentially.
And that's a big capital expense we're talking about delaying.
Huge.
Yeah.
And beyond just lifespan, the U.S. Department of Energy is pretty clear on this. Proper heating system maintenance. It can significantly cut your energy use.
Which means lower bills.
Directly translates to lower monthly bills. It's just, straightforward math.
Okay, and the safety side, that feels non-negotiable. Something that really flagged in the reading was checking the heat exchanger. Now, for those of us not studying HVAC diagrams on weekends, what is that and why is it so critical?
That's a great question, and it's vital. The heat exchanger, basically, it's the metal chamber where the hot combustion gases, the dangerous ones, including carbon monoxide, pass through.
Okay.
And the heat from those gases transfers through the metal to the air that then circulates through your house.
So it keeps the bad stuff separate from the good stuff, the breathable air.
Exactly. But if that exchanger develops a crack, even a tiny hairline fracture, those toxic gases can mix directly into your home's air supply.
Wow. Okay.
So that annual maintenance, specifically a really careful inspection of that heat exchanger, it's basically the only reliable way to catch that potential disaster. Carbon monoxide is, after all, the silent killer.
Right. You can't smell it, can't see it. So, okay, we definitely need a pro for this, but who is the gold standard? And what do we do about this issue you mentioned where standards aren't maybe universally applied, like in Utah?
Yeah, the gold standard is still that highly trained, certified HVAC technician.
Yeah.
They're the ones who do the deep, comprehensive service. They inspect, they clean the critical bits, the burners, the blower motor, all that.
Right.
But let's get right into that regional detail because it really highlights why vetting is so critical.
Our sources confirmed it.
In Utah, there is no statewide requirement for formal training or licensing for HVAC technicians.
Wait, none at the state level.
No state mandate,
Right.
which means, practically speaking,
anyone could potentially get hired by, say, a non-union company and just learn on the job with maybe very little initial experience.
that's the implication. Yes.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the real risks. It's not just about getting a shoddy repair, is it?
No, I imagine not, especially with gas lines and combustion involved.
Exactly. The risk goes way beyond just incompetence. A lack of proper training when you're dealing with natural gas, with fire, with venting.
Yeah.
It can create immediate, incredibly dangerous safety hazards.
And what about liability if something goes wrong?
That's the other piece. Think about it. If unlicensed or, let's say, improperly performed work leads to a major problem, a fire maybe, or a serious gas leak, your homeowner's insurance might start asking questions.
They could potentially deny a claim.
They could potentially question coverage if they find the work didn't meet recognized industry safety standards because the person wasn't properly qualified. It puts the homeowner in a tough spot.
That's staggering, really. It shifts so much responsibility onto the consumer to verify everything. So if we can't just rely on a state license existing, what specific credentials should we be actively looking for?
Okay, number one, look for NATE certification. NATE. North American Technician Excellence. Think of it like, I don't know, the master's degree for furnace techs. It's a serious third-party certification. It means the technician has passed rigorous, standardized tests covering everything from installation to service.
So if they have NATE, they've proven they know their stuff industry-wide.
They've proven a comprehensive baseline knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes, a really strong indicator. And, another thing to consider is looking for a union technician.
Why specifically union?
Well, union techs typically have to go through pretty rigorous multi-year apprenticeships. Plus, there's usually a requirement for ongoing education to keep up with technology and safety practices. It just provides another layer of sort of verifiable training and adherence to standards.
Got it. NATE, maybe union affiliation, good indicators. Now, before we list what that good tech should actually do during the checkup, what about the alternatives? Sometimes you see offers from, like, the energy utility company, RMP or Dominion Energy, maybe. They offer basic checks, sometimes free or cheap. Are those worthwhile?
Useful maybe only as a very preliminary check. They might, glance at your air filter to see if it's totally blocked, or check that the thermostat seems to be working.
But they're not doing the deep dive.
Absolutely not. They are not a substitute for that comprehensive, thorough inspection we've been talking about, especially not for checking the safety of the heat exchanger or the gas systems.
Yeah.
If they do spot something major, they'll usually stop right there and tell you, you need to call a qualified HVAC expert immediately.
Okay, so helpful, but limited. Got it. Right, so we found our hopefully NATE-certified, well-reviewed professional. They arrive for the annual maintenance. What exactly should be on their checklist? How do we know we're actually getting a thorough job and our money's worth?
Yeah, this is where you need to be an educated consumer, right? The inspection should definitely start with calibrating the thermostat.
Why is that so important?
Well, if your thermostat is off by just a couple of degrees, your system might run way longer than it needs to. Or cycle incorrectly, wastes energy, costs you money, simple fix, big impact.
Makes sense. Then they get into the actual furnace guts. Let's talk about the burner assembly. What are they doing there?
They need to meticulously clean and adjust the burners. See, if the burners are dirty or clogged, they can't produce that efficient, stable blue flame you want.
You get that yellow flickering flame instead.
Right. A yellow, maybe sooty or unstable flame. That's inefficient combustion. Worse, it can actually deposit soot inside the unit and put extra stress on the heat exchanger itself. So cleaning and adjusting those burners is crucial for getting the most heat out of your fuel. Maximum efficiency.
Okay. And the heat exchanger chip, we keep coming back to this because of safety.
Yeah.
How do they actually inspect for a crack, especially if it's tiny and hidden deep inside?
Yeah, it takes specialized tools. Often they'll use things like flexible inspection cameras, almost like endoscopes, or specific mirrors designed to let them see deep inside that combustion chamber.
So they can visually inspect it.
Visually inspect, yes. But critically, they might also use combustion analysis tools. These measure the gases in the flue pipe, looking for unexpected readings like oxygen levels where they shouldn't be, or traces of combustion gas mixing where it shouldn't. That can indicate a breach, even a small one.
So it's a multi-pronged check.
It must be meticulous and detailed. If a tech just gives it a quick glance and moves on, you're not getting the safety assurance you paid for. That check needs time and care.
Understood. Makes the scrutiny totally reasonable. Okay, what about the blower motor and the ductwork?
Right, the blower motor, that's the powerhouse moving the warm air, right? They need to inspect it for wear, check the belt tensions if it has one, maybe lubricate bearings. This prevents overheating, premature failure, keeps the air moving strongly.
And the ducts.
And they should do at least a basic evaluation of the airflow and the ductwork. Look, if you have significant leaks in your ducts, and frankly, a lot of older homes do.
All that nice warm air is just heating the attic or crawl space.
Exactly. All that efficiently generated heat is just escaping into spaces you don't live in. So a good inspection should ensure the whole system, from heat creation to air delivery, is optimized end to end.
Okay, makes perfect sense. Let's shift gears slightly. Picture this. It's 2 a.m., freezing cold, and the heat just quits. You're staring at the phone thinking about that expensive 24/7 emergency service call. Before you dial, what are the absolute essential troubleshooting steps you, the homeowner, can actually do yourself?
Okay, yes. Rule number 1, always start with the simplest things first. And the simplest is often the power.
Power to the furnace itself.
Yeah, go look at the furnace unit. Is there a switch right on or near it? Sometimes looks like a light switch. Someone might have accidentally flipped it off during the summer. Check that first.
Okay, power switch. What's next?
Second, your main electrical panel. your circuit breaker box. Find the breaker labeled furnace or HVAC. Has it tripped?
Ah, right, to the middle or off position.
Exactly. Sometimes just the surge of the motor starting up can trip it. Flipping it firmly back to on might be the instant fix that saves you hundreds of dollars on an emergency call.
Good one. And my personal favorite neglected item, the air filter.
Oh, absolutely. Changing your air filter? It's like changing the oil in your car, isn't it? It's the simplest bit of preventive maintenance.
But so easy to forget.
So easy. And neglecting it can literally turn a, $10 filter problem into a $500 repair bill when the system basically suffocates itself.
How does a dirty filter cause a shutdown?
It blocks the airflow, drastically reduces it. This can cause the furnace to overheat because the heat isn't being carried away fast enough. Then a safety sensor trips, shutting the whole thing down. It can also lead to short cycling, running in short, inefficient bursts. So always check that filter. Pull it out, hold it up to the light. If it's dirty, replace it. That might be all it takes.
Check power, check breaker, check filter. What else? Pilot light.
Right. If you have an older furnace with a standing pilot light, that little blue flame that's always on, make sure it's actually lit. Sometimes they go out. There are usually instructions right on the furnace for how to relight it safely. Newer furnaces often have electronic ignition, so this doesn't apply there.
Okay, those are good DIY first steps. Now, what about tech? We're seeing more smart thermostats like the Nest or ecobee. Can they actually help diagnose problems?
They can definitely help. Smart tech is fantastic for giving you early warnings and useful data. They track run times, temperature swings, system cycles.
So they can spot inefficiencies.
Exactly. They can often alert you if the system seems to be running way too much or struggling to reach the set temperature, or even flag things related to that restricted airflow we just talked about if it's causing weird cycling patterns. They give you data to understand if things are normal or starting to go off the rails.
But there's a line, right? When does the smart thermostat's helpfulness end? And you absolutely need the human expert. Oh, definitely a line. And the line is really about safety and complexity. Your smart device cannot stick a camera inside your heat exchanger to look for cracks.
Right.
It cannot use sensors to sniff out a natural gas leak. It can't diagnose that cracked heat exchanger or a major motor failure about to happen or some complex issue with the internal control board. If the problem goes beyond a simple airflow blockage or maybe a power glitch it detected, you must call in the trained professional. Smart tech is an assistant, not the doctor.
Good analogy. Okay, so what are the absolute non-negotiable symptoms? The things where you hear it or smell it, and you don't even bother with the DIY. You just call that 247 emergency line immediately.
Okay, immediate call territory. Loud, really alarming noises. Things like sudden high-pitched screeching, metallic grinding sounds, or loud bangs when the furnace kicks on or off. If you hear those, shut the system down at the switcher breaker and call.
Okay, noises. What else? Smells. If you smell natural gas, that sort of rotten egg smell they add to it, get everyone out of the house immediately. Don't use any phones or switches inside. And call your gas company. And then an HVAC professional from outside or a neighbor's house. Also, any strong burning smells like plastic or melting wires, or even just a persistent, unusual metallic odor when it runs, shut it down and call.
Gas smell, burning smell, loud noises, anything else.
And certainly, if you've done the basic troubleshooting, you've checked the power, the breaker, the filter, the thermostat settings are definitely calling for heat, and the unit is still blowing cold air, or simply won't turn on at all. You need professional help right away.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Delaying necessary repairs, especially with those kinds of symptoms, can lead to much more extensive damage. It can turn a repair into a full replacement, and it absolutely heightens the safety risks.
Okay, investing in prevention is clearly the big theme emerging here. So beyond getting that crucial annual inspection done by a qualified pro, what other actionable steps can we take now to sort of safeguard the system and maybe avoid those 2 a.m. panic calls?
Well, one thing to seriously consider is joining a maintenance plan offered by a reputable HVAC company.
Like a service contract.
Exactly. These plans usually bundle that annual tune-up, often at a slightly discounted rate compared to a one-off call. But they also typically give you things like priority scheduling if you do have a breakdown, and sometimes even a discount on any future repairs that might be needed.
So it's kind of like insurance against breakdowns.
It's essentially like an insurance policy against those high-stress, high-cost emergency situations. Plus, make sure you actually get the maintenance done regularly.
That makes sense. The sources also mention surge protectors. I mean, we think about those for computers, maybe TVs.
Yeah.
Why does a furnace need one?
That's a really good point because people don't often think about it. But today's high-efficiency furnaces, they're not just simple mechanical devices anymore. They rely heavily on complex electronic control boards.
Ah, the brains of the operation.
Precisely. And those boards are, number one, highly sensitive to power fluctuations, and number two, extremely expensive to replace if they get fried.
And winter storms can cause power flickers or surges.
Exactly. Power fluctuations, brownouts, surges from the grid, coming back online after an outage.
Yeah.
These are common, especially during bad weather. They can easily damage those delicate furnace control boards. So a relatively inexpensive whole house surge protector, or even one dedicated just to the furnace circuit, can safeguard that really fragile, really costly component.
Turns a potential $1,000 repair into maybe just a tripped protector.
Potentially, yes. It's a smart protective investment.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. The core message seems crystal clear. Being proactive, being informed today, saves you a massive amount of headache, worry, and, frankly, money tomorrow.
That's exactly it. The key takeaway we really synthesize from all the sources is just how crucial it is to choose a qualified technician. Remember, NATE certification, verified experience, maybe union status. Look for those credentials.
And then actually schedule that annual inspection.
And be proactive about getting those annual inspections done. This becomes especially vital in places like we discussed in Utah, where that mandated state oversight might be minimal. It really does force you, the homeowner, to be the final quality control check on what is truly an essential home safety system.
So the advice is, don't wait for it to break down in the middle of a blizzard. Get that qualified technician scheduled. Do it now. Stay warm, stay safe, and stay worry-free this winter.
Couldn't say it better myself. And maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on, something that builds directly on that regional licensing point we discussed. Given how much we rely on these complex heating systems for our basic safety and, survival during cold weather, what broader questions does this kind of situation, this absence of mandated government regulation for essential home service providers in some areas raise? What does it suggest about the right balance between individual consumer responsibility and perhaps governmental oversight when it comes to protecting health and safety in our own homes? Something to think about, maybe while you're double-checking your technician's NATE credentials online.